ready, everybody? Let's just get into it. Here we go. Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to another edition of Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I am Father Malone, and right beside me is my co-host and my bestest pal, Ripley. Hey, what's up with the reverb? Oh, I get it. Okay. I suppose I need to mention someone who never gets mentioned. In the booth, making us sound good, is my other bestest pal, our producer, Foxy Brown. Oh, okay. That's better. Foxy's a Manx cat from the Isle of Man. And they are weird. They're that stubby-tailed cat, but they look like tabbies. They don't meow, they click, and they trill. Like I said, they're from the Isle of Man originally, and I always wonder if I'm being cruel by keeping her here in the desert. You sure? No, I guess you don't want to be any closer to water than you have to be. Anyway, that's the crew. That's our team. We've got 3 recommendations, as always. And as always, I hope they're readily available to stream for you, because that's the idea. And you know what? It's summertime. I'm going all the way summer, and I'm going first, all the way back to the summer of 1997. I don't care. I'm going. Remember 90s action? All the slow-mo, all the bombast. They were an affront to any right-thinking action fan. And they were glorious. At the center of the whole Megillah was the most unlikely man of action possible at that or any other moment, seemingly, though clearly more than capable. A man who is part of a true American cinematic dynasty. He's a Coppola, after all. And his stage name should have been a tip-off that he always had the soul of a comic book hero. We're talking Nicolas Cage, a man I sat behind at the Boston Film Festival premiere of Vampire's Kiss. His cologne was so overpowering that midway through the film, I had to retreat to the bathroom to douse my eyeballs. That's cute. No one's going to need to douse their eyeballs after watching my choice for the week. There are a trio of Nick Cage flicks to choose from. So which one is it? Have a listen.
He's a U.S. Ranger. Highly decorated. Did a little hell raising when he was a kid, but nothing serious. He's defending his wife. Got in a drunken brawl. And he killed a guy. Could have happened to you or me.
After serving the last of his sentence, Cameron Poe is taking the first plane home to his wife and daughter.
Today's flight is a special one. We're populating Louisiana's Felton Penitentiary. These guys are the worst of the worst.
See a lot of celebrities among us. I see 11 primetime lives, 3 Regents and Kathy Lees, and a genuine 2020 interviewee.
What you looking at, punk?
Nothing, I was just admiring your cage.
But one wrong flight
Stewardess, what's the in-flight movie today?
can ruin your whole day.
What happened? We caught the plane, man!
Welcome to Con Air.
Jailbird 1, you are not cleared for takeoff.
And nobody on this aircraft gives a flying.
The issue here is how the plane is brought down.
Shoot it down.
There are innocent people up there.
He's got a little girl to come home to. He's been waiting for this day for 8 years.
What are you gonna do? What do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save the day.
This summer, check your weapons. Take your seat.
Isn't that your car?
And say your prayers.
He's got the whole world in his hand.
From Jerry Bruckheimer, the producer of The Rock, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich.
Where are they gonna land this thing?
How do you feel about the blackjack tables?
On June 6th. Buckle up. Con Air. Directed by Simon West.
Thank you, and have a pleasant flight.
1993, an article about the real-life airborne prisoner transport nicknamed Con Air caught the attention of a Disney exec who hired a young man who was popular at that moment for a spec script he had written. His name is Scott Rosenberg. I was in LA in 93 and was one of the people who had read Rosenberg's then unproduced script for Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. There is a film of it. Andy Garcia is the lead, and Treat Williams is spectacular as a character named Critical Bill. It's really good, and I like it a lot. But no film was going to do that script justice. A neo-noir with dialogue stylized to the point of shattering and a genuine beating heart at its center. And it's funny, not just in one-liners, but the overall attitude, which puts him in line to be one of the worst candidates for a big, dumb action film. But in this case, he was absolutely perfect because the script he wrote for Con Air, whose lead characters include rapists, murderers, and out-and-out psychopaths with names culled from Southern rock anthems, ends up being the perfect parody of Jerry Bruckheimer action movies. And before Nick Cage got his hands on the script and turned Cameron Poe into Superman in a Canadian tuxedo, that character was just as bad as the others. He just had more to live for. A little later on, apparently, J.J. Abrams would do a pass on the film. He did passes for all of Bruckheimer's work, upping the humor quotient, though he seems to have failed to add a mystery box to any point of the script. Okay, you know the plot. Cameron Poe, decent guy, unjustly jailed, on his way home. The prison transport he's on is commandeered by the worst of the worst convicts, and along the way, it's explosions and attack helicopters and shearing giant guitar-shaped signs in half. But maybe you don't remember or have forgotten the context of this movie and when it came out. The movie stars Ving Rhames, John Cusack, Steve Buscemi, Nicolas Cage, who at the time was pretty much an independent guy, and John Malkovich. Surely this is a somber drama filmed over 2 weeks in Silver Lake with a $4 million budget. Nope. How did they all get in this movie? Well, they did it all for the money, and they all bitched about it, and I don't care. And speaking of the cast, if you're a fan of Dave Chappelle, he's in it. And if you hate Dave Chappelle, he gets crushed by landing gear. And speaking of the cast, that long and lustrous hair of Cameron Poe's, you know the shot. You see him right now, and he's slowly shaking his head back and forth ever so slightly, that smile just teasing at the corner of his lips. That was a fuck you to Bruckheimer. See, Cage had grown a beard for the part, in addition to the hair, which Bruckheimer nixed immediately. And when he saw the long hair, Bruckheimer said it had to be in a ponytail. So Cage's compromise was no beard, but no pony. And speaking of the cast, I read this interview with Danny Trejo back in 2010. He was asked of any of his co-stars in any of his movies, who wouldn't he want to tangle with? And he said John Cusack. He'd seen Cusack fight and he knew his trainer. So don't fight John Cusack, everybody. Chicago listeners, stay back from Cusack. I love John Cusack. He's great. And it's completely inexplicable that he's in this movie, but it's so much better for him being there. And I'm going to get real granular about the movie for a second. Climax takes place in Las Vegas, and I live in Las Vegas. And I'm usually not a terrible stickler for continuity. Yeah, no, you're right. I completely am. Look, there's a motorcycle chase down Fremont Street, and it's terribly shot and horribly edited. The plane crashes through the Hard Rock, which is on Paradise. Then the plane lands immediately on the Strip. But I'm letting that go. I'm letting all of that go. I'll let all the bullshit logic from every part of this movie go. But for some reason, this last one actually gnaws at me. The final fight takes place in a tunnel. We have 3 here. They're all about 30 feet long. They enter the one downtown, and then they're magically inside the 2nd Street tunnel in downtown Los Angeles. You know, you've seen it in Blade Runner and any movie in Los Angeles where they need a tunnel. They all go to the 2nd Street tunnel. So it's very weird. And it's lame considering Scott Rosenberg's script ended with the plane crashing into the Mirage and then Cyrus and Poe fighting in front of the volcano as it erupts and pours fire all around them. That sounds very heaven. And I'm nitpicking right here because I love Con Air. It's crazy and fun and simultaneously is a big dumb action film and is a parody of a big dumb action film. I love it. Watch it right now. You've been looking for an excuse, and I hereby grant it. Okay, fine. You can go next. I'm just going to read the call to action, Ripley. We need our listeners to help us or not. They can all wait, apparently, and your pick is going to have to wait. Can I talk now? Okay. Rip, I told Foxy she could have a choice this week. We never throw it to her, and she felt pretty strongly about this movie. Oh, stop. You're the best for last. We're saving the best for last. Yours is the best for last. You're the headliner. Come on. All right, this is Foxy's choice. You're probably going to need to go to a theater to see it or purchase it for streaming. Now, if you were to ask me up until very recently, what was good about the A Quiet Place films, I would have responded that it managed to achieve an unusual phenomenon in the 21st century, but it was one you could only experience in the theater. It managed to turn the clock back to the 70s or 80s when the audience was united as a fist, ready to smash anyone that dared disturb the sanctity of the movie-going experience. That was fun to relive. But other than that, I thought those movies were sloppy sci-fi. They weren't even sci-fi, really. They were monster movies that were too timid to commit to its own premise. The xenomorph has to be an alien. These things do not. And once you pull the science door open, you'd better be ready, because now my suspension of disbelief is based on your choices about every aspect of the world you've created. Putting aside that they're nigh indestructible, shout out to the tick, the nigh indestructible nature of the creatures, you have a family living on a farm that's way out in the open. Have to have tripwires everywhere as alarms. There are trees everywhere, lots of places to get attacked from, and any sound they make is a potential disaster. Any accidental sound, and they're all murdered. And a couple of miles from the house is a waterfall where they can stand around and talk freely because the creatures can't hear them there. Move to the waterfall. What the fuck? This is like characters on The Walking Dead for the first few seasons acting like walkie-talkies didn't exist. Where's so-and-so? Oh, I think they went to get such and such. Well, hopefully they meet us at the rendezvous. How about you ask them right now, thanks to the magic of Motorola? Anyway, I didn't like either of the Quiet Place movies. I thought they were slow-mo versions of 28 Weeks Later, which is why A Quiet Place Day One is such a shock. I fucking loved it.
This Friday, what do we do? Save everyone we can.
I have a plan.
A Quiet Place Day One starts Thursday.
Lupita Nyong'o stars as Samira, a cancer patient, hospice patient, really, who agrees to take a day trip into Manhattan with the promise of a slice of pizza from her favorite pizzeria, which is potentially her last chance to do so, which is when the attack occurs, the initial attack of these aliens arriving on Earth. The urban setting helps propel the film's sense of urgency like gangbusters, and it's already high thanks to the fact that our lead is living on borrowed time. It's a really remarkable thing they've achieved. Also, it's a pizza quest. Can you imagine anything more noble to be searching for in the face of the apocalypse? It's stunning. But the reason Foxy chose this movie is another cast member. Well, two cast members playing one character. That character's name is Frodo. That's Samira's cat, who she has brought into the city with her in this sort of the third lead in this film. That cat is named Frodo, like I said, and is played by two cats named Schnitzel and Nico. They're both fantastic. All right, have I plugged enough the cat? Okay. The fact is, the cat is really important because it starts out seemingly like every other movie would treat it, like an object of peril, but then it ends up becoming way more symbolic. Oh, the other cast member, because this is a trio, it's a young businessman named Eric, played by Joseph Quinn. He's the Human Torch, or will be soon. You know him from Stranger Things, Eddie Munson and his guitar. He is fucking fantastic here as a young man who is just as lost with everything to live for potentially as Lupita Nyong'o is Dune, but they're both in the same boat. He is just soulful and sweet, honestly. There are moments of absolute lyricism throughout the movie, and the carnage is fantastic and immediate. I found it to be everything the previous two films weren't. The effects are peerless, and the ending, oh boy, I want to discuss it because it gets me where I live, but I'm going to leave it to you. A Quiet Place in Day One is now playing. I think you can get it on Amazon Prime as well. All right. Yes, we have finally gotten to you. You know what? I said best for last. And actually, I wasn't kidding because Ripley picked up on the summertime theme and fucking ran with it. She ended up picking the best summer movie I can think of, or at least it has to be everyone's idea of the best summer camp movie. There's only one word to describe it. Meatballs.
You saw what he did to Saturday Night. Now watch Bill Murray demolish Summer.
Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for the sunshine? Are you ready for the birds and bees, the apple trees, and a whole lot of fun around? Are you ready for the summer?
See 300 kids from the city escape to the woods for a summer of wholesome fun in the sun.
I'm the program director, Jerry Aldini. Is that a bra you're wearing, or are you expecting an assassination attempt?
And I have what doctors call very active glands.
Tripper, is there something seriously wrong with you?
Meet the head counselor who knows the facts of life, but forgot them.
What's going on here? So this year, each camper will stalk and kill his own bear in our private wildlife preserve. Your camp rules. Maury would like you all to take a look at these. Be in here if you want to check these out a little bit later. How's the leg?
Okay.
Yeah, for now. But if you don't win, we cut it off. But more important than the score of this game is to score at the big social at our place tonight.
It's not how you play the game, but how you win that counts.
I'm talking to you with the exceptionally round hair.
The country for the glory of the human race.
It just doesn't matter if we win or we lose. It just doesn't matter.
The real excitement, of course, is going to come at the end of the summer during Sexual Awareness Week. We import 200 hookers from around the world, and each camper, armed with only a thermos of coffee and $2,000 cash, tries to visit as many countries as he can. And the winner, of course, is named King of Sexual Awareness Week.
You'll be cheering for Bill Murray this summer in Meatballs.
Saw this in the theater when I was 5, maybe 6, and my only impression of it is Bill Murray swinging a log around, but it counts. I saw it theatrically. 1978, still riding high on the success of Saturday Night Live. Look, I know he had a rough patch at the beginning of season 2 when he joined, replacing Chevy Chase, but he overcame that shit real fast. And by the time of Meatballs, he was in his stride. So here he is in his first theatrical lead in a disposable summer camp movie, which is probably never going to be seen again after its initial run, because remember, there's no home video market at this point. In this nothing of a film, Bill Murray manages to put in a performance that will transform American comedy cinema for decades. He legitimizes a character that had been there all along, but it was always off to the side. The wisecracking smartass, Murray manages the equivalent of Stoppard putting Rosencrantz and Guildenstern front and center in Hamlet. He makes the sidekick the lead. which is another reason that Meatballs constantly being lumped in with the glut of TNA gross out comedies at the time is so insulting. I'm an urban kid. I have asphalt in my veins, so the thought of being carted off to the woods for an extended period was horrifying to me. Add that a couple of dozen kids who are actually dying to be there. Good God, no thank you. But inexplicably, Meatballs, and Bill Murray specifically, managed to make that scenario appealing, even appetizing. Or maybe that's just because it's called Meatballs. A Canadian summer camp movie with an Irish American in the lead is called Meatballs. Now, presumably, they're calling it that because the characters are losers, which that was another shift in comedy at the time. The outcasts rising up, slobs against the snobs. And so all these characters are meatballs. But what a bunch of meatballs on display, like Matt Craven, one of the CITs, the counselors in training. He's pretty notable. He'd go on to star in Crimson Tide and ER and Justified. He'll forever be hardware to me. And speaking of forever, there are two female performances that echo through history, and I have to mention them here. One is that girl who talks gossip in the mess hall.
It seems as though last summer's hottest couple have split. I can't tell you their names, but her initials are AL, and he's the hottest CIT on wheels. We all know they spent most of last summer in the bushes, but the question is, will true love bloom again?
That girl is the 1970s. I knew dozens of her, and I'm glad she's preserved here on film. Other is counselor in training AL, played by Christine DeBelle. Miss DeBelle is my first celebrity crush, and that crush has not diminished in any way over the years. She's what Hef had been searching for all those years as the actual girl next door, which makes it no surprise that she was a cover model for Playboy in 1976, April of 1976. So yes, she's incredibly beautiful, but she's also wildly funny and natural. Honestly, it's the best performance in the film. And on my birthday one year, my girlfriend Amber had Miss DeBelle make a cameo video for me saying hello and wishing me well. And she also made it clear that she also knew something very personal about me that I will not discuss on the air. I guess email me if you're curious. Anyway, she is still as lovely as ever, and she's another great reason to re-experience this film. Oh, we forgot to mention Mickey.
Hope to see y'all again next summer.
Can I have some applause for this man, please? Come on! Hey! Way to go, Mickey!
How about Rudy Gerner?
I'm going away.
You going to Vegas? If you're going to Vegas, man, I would be up for it because I love that town. I'm a party guy. I love that town.
Or how about the one line from any comedy that makes me laugh every single time I hear it?
You can change the record, but don't you change. Promise me? I'll be waiting right here.
This is a silly, breezy, lazy hangout of a film that never devolves into the shenanigans most films of its ilk tend to. And remember, at the center of this movie is a young boy coping with his mother's death, whose father doesn't know what to do with him and ships him off to summer camp. Summer fun! Yeah, no, it's good. Everyone go watch Meatballs. Everybody happy now? You got yours, Miss Foxy? Right on. I hope you too, Midnight viewers, have had a good time. Check out the new Midnight Viewing Anthologies Attack this Friday. Antonio Lepore and I are talking an anthology film that everyone forgets is an anthology, Pulp Fiction. Father Malone's weekly roundup is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. You can reach me at fathermalone71@gmail.com. Drop me a line. Or if you want to lend some support to the show, head over to patreon.com/fathermalone. Subscription will get you early episodes that are ad-free and some bonus episodes. Or if money's tight, and God knows it is for all of us, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast and or share it with your friends. Until next time, I'll leave you with this bit of wisdom from Con Air. Define irony. Bunch of idiots dancing on a plane to a song made famous by a band that died in a plane crash.
Here we go!